the host of Aaron's Hour, Aaron Phillips.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips, coming to you live from the WWDB TV studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Aaron Phillips, because otherwise the title of the show would make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Thank you for. It never makes any sense no matter what anyway. Thank you for joining me, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. If you're listening on the apps, you're driving around town, remember on your Android, WWDB TV, download that from your Play Store. If you have an Apple product, download WWDB TV LV from your Apple Store. Download that. Take us on the go. And in about 3 days from now, 72 hours, you can pull us up on the WWDB TV channel on Roku. Not only can you catch all of my shows, but you'll have the WrestleMania size level of amount of shows you want to watch, which means a lot, by the way, and catching all the shows that are here on the network. I want to thank you for joining us. As always, our phone number is 702-992-3207. As always, I have the chat room being followed right here. If you are watching on YouTube, put your comments in there. John can see them and pull them out there and put them up on the screen for me. No matter what, share us. We'll have a good time, because I have a great guest today. This is going to be so much fun that maybe this person will want to come back every week and have some fun. Who knows? This person just deals with a little pressure. And I'll introduce her formally as soon as we come back from my opening segment, as we like to call Vegas 2.0.
With a nod to the past and an eye to the future, here is Aaron Phillips with Vegas Unwrapped 2.0.
All right, we are back. By the way, I don't know, John, if let me do it this way. I don't want to give away the surprise on my guest just yet. You all notice I got a Giants helmet here. That's because this week my Giants are in town.
Is that been a Giant, or is that for the football team, the Giants?
As I said, I have a helmet here with the New York Giants on the desk. My Giants, not that I write their checks or anything, they're in town to play the Raiders. Exactly. Ted Lasso here. I'm a Giants fan. I'm obviously got to root for my Giants tomorrow. Sorry, any Raiders fan. I hope my guest is not a Raiders fan. If she is, she's probably going to walk out of the studio in about 5 seconds. With that, though, it is my pleasure to absolutely introduce someone that we've been connected on social media, especially through LinkedIn, for a while now. And about a month ago, I said, you know what, let me just throw a little message out to my guest to see if this guest would be willing to come on and have some fun. And sure enough, Tricia Kean from Channel 13 News said, what the hell? I got nothing else going on other than running around playing football, taking my son to football and doing this thing on the news. So joining me today in studio, Tricia Kean from Channel 13 News. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
My absolute pleasure. I brought my on-air sign because I figured you're used to seeing on-air signs. So I figured I brought that out for you as well. There you go. See, only it's not facing us to know when we're on the air. But John keeps us on our toes. Thank you for coming in today and making this work. I know your son is here. Your husband is here. Yes. You're running off to football right after we get off the air.
That's right. We got a big time center over here.
I big time center for sure. Oh, are we not? Can you turn your mics?
There we go. You didn't hear that.
Matt must have turned it off by accident. There you go. But this, but the strength of these mics, they heard you anyway. Okay. So you said you're going to Rancho, right? Who do you play for?
Team called Las Vegas Diamondbacks.
Las Vegas Diamondbacks. Yeah.
He's been with them since. You've been with Coach Cedric since what? Since 8U.
Wow. And you're a center?
Yep.
You have aspirations to play pro ball?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And I grew up with the Raiders.
Well, thanks for coming, Tricia.
Yeah. Back in the day, like with Marcus Allen. I'm so happy they're here, though. It's great to have NFL here.
It is.
A lot of changes.
A lot of changes. A lot of people. There's a lot of great topic about the Raiders being here, and you know we'll touch on it just from a sports fan perspective. It's funny being a Giants fan. I'm out here 26 and a half years from Jersey. I really have no huge desire to go even see Allegiant Stadium because it's not my home team's place.
Right.
I know it's beautiful. I know it's fantastic.
You haven't been?
Not been.
Oh, wow. You have to go. It is great. You have to see. Well, UNLV plays there.
I've seen a UNLV game once in the 26 years I'm here.
Really? I love UNLV is doing phenomenal this year.
Yes, they are having a good year this year, which is great. I'm happy for them. And being at Allegiant Stadium may be helping them rather than going all the way out to Sam Boyd in the middle of nowhere, right?
That was a schlep for sure.
That's exactly right. It's interesting you said schlep because we had an interesting conversation also. You and I were talking privately about names and stuff. We thought at one time we might actually been related because of last names and stuff.
My dad was born in Philadelphia.
Right.
Yeah.
And but I checked with my historian cousin. He said he doesn't know of anybody down in Philadelphia. So would have been cool to say, hey, we're related.
His brother still lives there, but everybody has moved out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everybody moved down to Florida.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's Jew, down there's Jew world and everything else down there. Everybody's getting out of the cold. Anyway, so let's get to some headlines. I'm going to, you can chime in whenever you want on any of the topics I'm going to talk about. John, why am I not seeing my feed on my Facebook page? Just thought I'd ask.
Looks like you're up here.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, it's not showing up on my Aaron Show page. Oh, there it is.
It's
I just
there.
didn't hit refresh enough times.
Yeah. Get what?
What does that say? Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
One of the things that I like doing is talking about the winners, people who hit jackpots and stuff.
Oh, I love that.
And one of the things that always gets me, and I say this every time, somebody wins this big jackpot,
Right.
they play 5 cents and they win $1 gazillion. But how much did they really spend before that?
Right.
And all their visits?
Do you get the backstory?
I do not, unfortunately. But it's always just been a question like, on a $10 slot machine, this person placed $1.50 and won $20 million. I'm like, really?
Can I just tell you, every time we do these stories
Yes.
on the air and we post them on digital, these stories are the ones that everybody they're interested in because they want to know where they won and how much they won.
I was going to say, unfortunately, this one I pulled down from one of your TV competitors. But it's slot play, but you guys probably covered it. Slot player at the Excalibur this week hits for $12.2 million.
Wow.
This person at the Excalibur, as it says here, 4th time this year that the Megabucks millionaire hit for $12,185,000. And this was on the Triple Red Hot 7 Spitfire multiplier slot machine.
It's a lot of money.
It is. And what I've noticed in going over these, Caesar's Palace properties this year has been hot for winnings. I mean, every week it's like I'm announcing Caesar's Palace or one of their other properties, even the airport this year.
Is it slot machines are winning on?
Slot machines. That's really, I don't get other runs. I don't get table winnings a lot. I think
it has to be Wheel of Fortune, right? It's usually
sometimes.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This one was 777s.
Okay.
But you don't get a lot of table game news a whole lot unless something ridiculous happens. The other thing I noticed this year, the airport, usually not traditionally the best place to win, but this year
I've won there before.
and I did too.
Yeah.
Like $300. I was
me
like,
too.
ooh,
Me too.
right? It's
Me
like,
too.
but millions, people are hitting $1 million slots there. And you know what? They have a captured audience. You think your odds are bad, but maybe they loosened them up to get people to come back. I mean, let's face it. We pretty much know why they're announcing all these winnings, especially after the pandemic, right? Let's get people back here, show everybody winning, right?
Yep.
Well, even the airport's winning. Why not, right? This is good news for all of you. Do you go to downtown? You go from where you are. Do you go up and out to downtown Summerlin during the holidays?
I love downtown Summerlin, but it is a far drive from where I live. I've been there many, many times. I used to live in Summerlin until I got married, and then I moved on.
So it's his fault, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I got you.
Well, better schools, all those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So they're opening up their holiday parade and their skating rink and everything. So this is opening up. Let's see, November 17th through December 16th. Will be offered every Friday and Saturday evening, beginning at 6 p.m. Everybody loves that up there. Ice skating in the middle of the outdoors. I mean, it's one thing to have the hockey team here, but skating outdoors in Las Vegas, let that sink in for a few minutes. Let's see. Bringing back many holiday downtown Summerlin, holiday parades, visits with Santa, the Rock Rink, the Giving Machine, Hanukkah and lights for flights. And what else did they say here? Oh, and if you want your picture with Santa Claus, it's open daily for that through December 24th. So make sure you can visit Summerlin.com for more information on that. So that's coming up soon.
By the way, have you been to the Aviators ballpark?
Yes.
Good.
That I have been to.
Good.
One thing that I do want to catch a game in, that left field short wall over there with the 2 or 3 rows in the outfield, that's where I want to watch a game at one point. You know, I've sat in the regular stands and we've gone with friends. That's one place I would like to watch a game. That would be fun out there on the
I love the ballpark and great food there.
And the year before the pandemic, they were voted the #1 AAA facility in all of Major League Baseball. Of course, any place that has a pool in right center field can't be all that bad, right? The field in Arizona, where the Diamondbacks play, have the same thing. They have their pool out there. All right. This one will be interesting to get some of your feedback on as a resident of Las Vegas. Okay, so I'm going to preface it so you don't get in trouble with the employers. All right, we all know Formula One's coming into town.
Right.
That's been in the news, seems like forever. Roads are under construction. You can't get around this town at any hours. I found out the other night when I took a friend to the airport at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my gosh, it's a mess over
there. I don't even look for Tropicana anymore.
Yeah.
I get off of like Sahara off of the 15. I go down Koval or Paradise and just go straight across. But coming out of there, coming up Trop, or you try to cut across Flamingo. So the another night, I cut across the Flamingo heading west. I didn't realize they put a little bridge. Did you know over there to go over the businesses? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So anyway, don't try the pedestrian bridge during the race to look unless you can see through sheeting.
Yeah.
Although people are tearing it down.
They're peeling it off. Right? We had that on the news. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I saw it.
Yeah.
How cool. It's
when
like
you're watching 13. Hopefully.
I do usually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Of course.
Good.
There's no other channel I'd want to watch.
There you
KTNV,
go.
channel 13. Actually, it's where I get a lot of the stories, actually. You guys post a lot of good stuff online for guys like me to have news reports. So.
Oh, I'll tell our digital team.
Absolutely. I love it. Again,
wait, is that plagiarism?
Shh. Who needs you at this point in the show? Actually, I get a lot of the links through that neighborhood website.
Yes.
That's why I get a lot of the notifications, even though I have MSN on my phone.
Right.
But I get a lot of those notifications, and channel 13 most of the time comes up before channel 8, channel 3, channel 5. So whatever they're doing right.
Good. I'll tell them.
Absolutely. I can be hired too, by the way. Anyway, here's one, though, that I think will lead to a little bit of conversation. This was something reported actually last week that the Taxi Cab Authority Board approves a temporary Formula One surcharge.
Yeah, I heard about that. I read it.
Yeah, this past Monday, the Taxi Cab Authority Board approved a pilot program, which I always love that word, that would put a temporary surcharge of $15 to all fares that originate or end in existing tiered flat rate zones that operate along the airport resort corridor. So Zone 1, Sunset North to Tropicana would cost $37. Zone 2 from Trop North to Flamingo would cost $41. And Zone 3 from Flamingo North to the Strat will cost $45. These rates take effect Wednesday, November 15th, noontime, through Tuesday, November 21st at noon. Interesting, right before Thanksgiving weekend it ends. That's smart planning on their board. And then after all that is done, by December 5th, they're expecting all the taxi cab companies to submit some long bunch of reports about all the riders. They're going to try to gather these all statistics. Why would they want to gather reports on that? Is that for something you think for them to decide whether something they want to keep doing? I mean, to me, a surcharge is ridiculous, but what do I know?
I don't know. How many people take cabs anymore anyway? Doesn't everybody take rideshare these days?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I think part of this, their concern is that because of the 3.5 miles that are being restricted use for the race,
right?
They want to implore motivation for the taxi drivers to still do their job, more or less, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right that most people do the Ubers and the Lyfts, or hey, John, can you take me to the airport today? Call a friend.
Yeah. Because the parking it's difficult over there now. I
feel bad now. Keep our fingers crossed that the 35,000 culinary workers won't strike before November 10th. That is their deadline. Because then I also read today, not only if they do go on strike, will it affect, obviously, the race. Of
course.
But the following week, the Jets are coming in to play the Raiders that same weekend.
They have a lot of leverage, don't they?
Exactly. Now, if only they give that same leverage to the teachers and get their stuff taken care of, that would be good.
Yeah, we have a lot going on, don't we?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
And the city is growing. I mean, just getting over here, the road construction, it's just...
How did you come up from where you were, 215 and around?
Yeah. Well, no, we took the 95.
Oh, okay. So you came up that way. Okay.
Yeah, the 215 to the 95.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Don't go on 15, folks.
I know.
It's terrible.
Every day I have to go to work on the 15. Oh my gosh. It's the resort corridor where they're, all the construction that's going on there. It's just crazy.
Especially when they had Trop closed down.
Yeah.
Because of what do they call it? Tropicana?
Tropicana, yeah.
Because I haven't even been that way on 15 to even know if they've even opened the ramp yet.
The city is moving. I mean, it's growing so fast.
Sure.
Southern Californians, Hawaiians now are moving here.
Right.
Somebody just told me the other day, taxes went up in Florida. A lot of Floridians are moving here. Property taxes.
Property taxes.
Yeah,
wow.
because of all the hurricanes and stuff. We're We're getting more.
I can see
people
insurance
from-
companies raising their rates. Well, why would the state
Yeah.
need to do it? FEMA maybe? Do they funnel into FEMA financially? I know
Yeah,
that's
it's
a federal.
it's probably insurance too. I wonder if you could even get insurance. Sometimes now they're having a lot of
Yeah.
people are having problems getting insurance.
If you live in a flood zone,
Yeah.
that's what happens. But I'm not keen on this. I understand why they're doing it. Because the culinary workers or whoever's going to work at that time,
Yeah.
how are they getting to work? They're going to have to be taking ride share or taxi cabs. They're not going to be able to drive their car.
No.
Where are they going to park to get? If they work on one of the casinos that's in the middle of the race, yet I noticed this,
No, I'm sorry.
and I didn't delve into the article, but when they had the race here many, many moons ago through Caesar's Palace, everybody was up in arms as to how it was a disaster and a nightmare. Back in, what was it, late 70s, I think they had the race, because I remember the picture I saw was in black and white, so I'm presuming it was like in the 70s, but
Right.
that it was a disaster. People didn't like it then.
Yeah. It's nice that we're having it. It's nice to have something else to diversify our economy, a big event like this annually. Hopefully it'll work itself out.
Oh, and then we have a little football game coming in February too.
Oh yeah.
Just
Just the
it's
Super
not flag football, is it?
No,
No,
no.
the Super Bowl's coming in, where not only is 75,000 people into Allegiant, but then that entire week with all the events leading up to it and everything else. Look, we get 150,000 people during March Madness that come
Right.
in to bet. New Year's Eve, a couple 100,000, right? We know we get big audiences for events. Have you heard anything of what they're anticipating for visitors for Super Bowl? I haven't. I'm just curious what they're anticipating.
You mean in terms of
Yeah,
numbers?
visitors, how many people they think for that week will flood us?
I'm sure it's going to be that, if not more. Let me tell you something though. I'm really happy though to hear with all the increased levels that we are now, with Dina Titus asking for more, with Formula One coming in the Super Bowl. We're going to be really secure moving forward too, with these big events, with all
Right.
these people coming
Sure.
in. So that makes me feel really good. We're
They
doing
need
a
to
lot.
put some of that money into the education fund. However, that's just my soapbox because my wife is an assistant principal,
Yeah,
although that's not affected by what's going on with the teachers.
right.
But that's a whole nother topic. Please
Right.
divert some of that.
I mean,
into the
it's getting more
education fund.
expensive to live here.
Of course.
And the teachers buying their own supplies.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate. I've been a room mom before when
Right.
he was in elementary
Sure.
school. So yeah, absolutely. Those teachers work so hard.
I'm a tutor. I
Are
spend
you?
4 days a week at Gilbert Elementary School working with fourth graders. And even in my room, even though they were only 4 days a week, I've paid for stuff out of my pocket
Right.
because I didn't want to take it away from the regular classroom folks.
What do you
And,
tutor?
I tutor English,
Okay.
reading,
Uh-huh.
all that, help students who just need that little extra practice with
Yeah.
sounds and whatnot. So even I've gone out and bought my own notebooks, my own supplies, just so I know I have them.
Right.
So I don't have to deal with worrying about ordering them and running
Right.
short. So I'm even taking money out of my pocket. It's not a good thing. It's been this way, and we're not the only school district. So let me paraphrase that. But here in our town, I just would like it to be settled as soon as possible. Why don't you give me the one shot? Do you need to go out and say goodbye before?
No,
okay,
no.
never mind.
There
Don't change the camera.
He just has to be at warm-ups. They have to get something to eat and go to warm-ups.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Last piece of news. Unfortunately, not all happy news. Of course, this past week, we lost Bobby Knight, former coach of the
Yes.
Indiana Hoosiers, 83 years old. I don't remember if he was sick or not. I don't remember some of the background, but he's mostly known for his tirades on the sidelines
Throwing a chair.
and chair throwing. That one incident is what's chased him around. Of course, actor Matthew Perry passed away this past week.
That was sad. He had a long life of addiction.
He did. Last couple of years, though, he was supposedly clean and sober, doing what he needed to do. I last read, and you probably know this more updated than I do, they were still waiting for toxicology reports the last I saw regarding that. Has there been any?
We haven't paid attention to that recently, just
Gotcha.
with everything,
With everything else.
We haven't.
Don't you have an entertainment reporter?
No, we don't. But
Hello?
I will say, I know that they did find some medications and stuff,
they did?
anxiety medication,
But not
and
in
stuff
his
like
system?
that.
At the,
No,
but
not in his system, but at the
scripted out,
house. Yeah,
hopefully?
yeah.
Because the original reports came out is that he drowned, possibly due to some sort of cardiac arrest.
Yes.
Because apparently he played a ton of pickleball earlier that day.
Yes.
And when you exert yourself and then you get into a hot tub, that's usually not the best mix for your body. Blood
So
pressure
sad.
will go down.
Yeah.
And then for you baseball fans out there, you guys might remember legendary player and manager Frank Howard spent most of his years with the Washington Senators. He too also passed away at 87. He had 382 career home runs, 172 of them with the Washington Senators. He played for them from 67 to 70. He also had a .499 slugging percentage in a 16-year career with the Dodgers, Senators, Rangers, and Tigers. He also helped the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the 63 World Series. And he finished in the top 10 of MVP voting 4 times. And of course, he was a manager of the Padres and Mets as well. So thoughts and prayers to all of those families affected by the passing of their family members, and to really anybody out there, those out in the Middle East who've lost lives, regardless of the side of you're on, any loss of life for reasons like that, we want to send our condolences to. All right, with that, I am a few minutes behind. When we come back, it's time to talk about Tricia Kean. That's right. Tricia Kean's going to share all about, she'll be allowed to share because that's her. Anyway, you're Aaron Phillips. We'll be right back. Most business owners struggle with the following issue. How do I brand my business to get noticed? Double 8 Design Studio helps businesses by designing brands that boost confidence, look and feel timeless, stand out from the competition, and attract all the right clients. Whether you are in need of a new brand, upgraded design elements, or completely redesign your current brand, Double 8 Design Studio has fully customized packages for your business. Call Chelsea McKendrick at 702-525-3334 and visit www.double8designstudio.com. Let Double 8 Design Studio give you a brand new outlet.
Find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery. I've got to have it.
So colorful.
I can't live without it. You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery.
Hey, welcome back. By the way, Desert Valley Gallery, I met with both Ed and Richard yesterday. Guess what, folks? They still have the $1,000 minimum purchase to get 20% off on your first purchase. But here's something cool. Every month they do a cabaret show, singing, and it's a really small gallery. You get about 30, 35 people. Here's a cool thing. Between now and the end of the year also, if you go in and make a minimum purchase of only $150, folks, $150, you will enter a drawing for 2 tickets for an upcoming cabaret show anytime in 2024. You're talking about a $70 value for 2 tickets. There'll be food, get an opportunity to network and mingle, see the gallery as well, and enjoy some great entertainment. So between now and then, mention Aaron Zauer, Aaron Phillips, WWDB-TV. For today's purpose, mention Tricia Kean. I don't really care. Get in there, mention something. Get a purchase of $150. Look, with the holidays coming up, presents are right around the corner, and then enter a drawing for a pair of tickets to go see a future cabaret located in Tivoli Village. John has raised his hand.
I just have to bring this up, that if you go in there, you need to plan on spending a little time.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not just going to go in there and look around. You're going to end up being stuck there looking at all the great stuff that they have.
Absolutely. And it's a different, as you saw in the video, when most people think of galleries, you think of the dark walnut colors, and the frames from like the 18th century.
Right.
It's a very bright and beautiful gallery that
Looks
they have
nice.
in there.
It's fun.
And they have artists from around town. They have consignment stuff in there, but their own pieces they order and buy. And they're great folks. So head up there for the holidays. All right. With that, even though I have her bio right here, although you can't really see it on the camera, it doesn't really, there you go, some lines. Tricia Kean joins us. So welcome again.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you taking time to be with me.
Absolutely.
So give our folks who don't know who you are, which I'm sure that's going to be a small percentage of people here in town at least. Because remember, I am worldwide now.
Right.
So
I've probably worked in the market that they're in because I've moved around a lot.
yes, but that's standard in the industry, isn't it? People
It
go around,
is.
you got to get your start somewhere.
You have to. The business is changing now.
Okay.
Where back in the day when I started, and I started on air in 1991,
Okay.
graduated Arizona State University with
One of prominent schools for
Yeah.
broadcasting.
the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. He came to speak to my communications class. He was amazing. It was really cool to meet him when I was in college. Anyway, anyway, I started in a small market, Great Falls, Montana.
Mhm.
In fact, you were talking about the Excalibur, somebody winning.
Yep.
So when I used to come to Las Vegas as a kid, we would
Okay.
stay at the Dunes Hotel because I was born and raised in Los Angeles. So I remember my brother-in-law was driving up to Great Falls, Montana with me. We stopped. The Excalibur was brand new back then.
Wow.
And I played a slot machine and I won over 300 there. And so that paid for the room for the
There
night
you
or whatever,
go.
and then some.
Back at that
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
$300 could pay for it, right?
I couldn't believe it was such a great jackpot. But anyway, so yeah, I started my career in a really super small market. In fact, I was on my way up there. They hired me as a weekend anchor, weekday reporter, and I'd never seen the station because they didn't pay for plane flights back in the day.
Sure.
So I'm moving up there, and they call me and they say, this position has changed. It's now a weekend sports reporter. You're gonna have to edit all your own sports stuff. And then during the week, you'll still report. And I was like, okay, sounds great. Now, I like sports, but I wasn't enough at the time to be a broadcaster in sports.
To write on it.
I didn't know golf. This will make you laugh. So we had this Montana television network. And one of the guys who ended up, this guy, Andy Baskin, he used to send me the highlights. And he said, Tricia, just put your track to the highlights in basketball because it moves so fast.
Okay.
Which was a really great tip.
Sure.
But he sent me golf highlights and I did not know anything about, and he wrote, it was bogeyed. I said, he boogied the hole. I mean, you could just imagine. I
He
mean,
danced around the hole.
Exactly.
Not the other boogie.
It was so sad. And people were calling, she's not much of a sports anchor, but you know
But
what?
you learned quickly, didn't you?
I did learn quickly, and it's helped me later on in my career because by the time I got to New York, I was doing sports, weather, and the news when I worked for CBS News Up to the Minute. And that was an international show.
Right.
And so that really helped me. But I went from Great Falls to Macon, Georgia, to Greenville, South Carolina, to Atlanta, to Los Angeles, to New York, back to LA, to Las Vegas. I moved around a lot.
Did you have frequent flyer miles?
Yeah, I moved around a lot. And I loved it. I spent 10 years in the South, though, which was a great experience. But my sister was having kids. I wanted to get back to the West Coast because I wanted to get to know
Family
my nephews.
Yep.
Yeah. And then out of the blue, I was working in Los Angeles, and my former general manager, who's actually had a digital at the Review Journal, he was the VP of news for Journal Broadcast, who used to own our station. He saw my tape in, we called it tape back in the day. We saw my
demo reel.
Yeah, the demo reel at Talent Dynamics in Dallas, and a guy who had worked with Larry Rickle and his wife in Atlanta, they were our consultants, said, I know Tricia Kean. She does a great job. She's tenacious. And they said, well, we need somebody who is going to be an advocate for the consumers, but can also anchor. And he said, that's your girl. And so I came, interviewed. And it's funny because the station, we have a great state-of-the-art station now, but the first station, which is on the same property, but it was not as nice as it is now. I walked in, I was like, okay, I'm coming from the Paramount Pictures lot where my station was located in Los Angeles. But they made me an offer and they took me out to Summerlin to look for homes. And I was like, you know what? This is in 2001. I was like, I could buy a really nice house here. We'll make this work. And lo and behold, I met my husband here, had my son, and now 22 years later, I'm here.
I've actually been at the studio, and I actually was on the morning blend.
Yes.
Morning blend.
Yeah.
I was co-hosting a beauty pageant.
Okay.
With somebody, and to promote the pageant, the two of us, we went on to be interviewed about the pageant. So I've actually been on the air down there on the station. I wouldn't mind a full-time job though. I've been only doing this 18 plus years. But no, the industry tradition, like you said, it's changed. I mean, I started in radio back east before moving here. I tell you, I'm self-taught.
Right.
I did not go to Arizona. I didn't go to Syracuse, which is another great institution of broadcasting. I'm self-taught. And I started back in New Jersey purely on a whim, meeting the right person on a little rinky-dink radio station back there, the cheesy FM voice. Solid gold, WCNJ, with the good songs, like that whole thing. And so I learned morning drive time on the fly. And every Monday night, I'd go down and I would do a sports recap show. Yeah. Not only just the local sports, but the major sports. Every show I did, I had on a cassette tape. Talking about tapes,
that's
reels,
going back. Yeah.
So moving out here, I had all them with me. I'm like, oh, this will be easy. I'll just go around. Right at the time, Bill Clinton decided to break up the monopoly on radio, and that's when Howard Stern started with XM and syndication with radio and all that. And I'm like, most of my tapes are probably still sitting in somebody's bottom desk drawer here, sitting there. But that's okay because I got into this now purely on a whim because of an ad on Craigslist that I saw.
Oh yeah.
And I got started doing color commentating for Junior Golden Gloves boxing.
Okay.
So, like you with golf, I really didn't know a whole lot about boxing in terms of the technique. I mean, I grew up on Wide World of Sports.
Yeah.
Saw all of the boxing. But my wife and I, my kids, like 30 days before I got hired to do the voiceover for that stuff, we had just taken a 30-day boxing class. So I knew a hook from a cross, from an uppercut, just enough to make me dangerous. And the play-by-play guy who I'd never met before walking into the studio, we hit it off. And hey, I said this to him, we really should do a sports show together, because he played ball in 3 Major League Baseball organizations. He called for Harlem Globetrotters, boxing, the whole thing. And I said, you as a sports guy, you can talk about any topic we talk about from the professional athlete. Me, I'm just a fan. I think come Monday, every manager and coach are idiots for the calls they made over the weekend. And I started my career. We launched a show called The Sports Zoo. And I've been at it ever since.
Yeah.
We love it. Absolutely love it. And I've fallen in love with it. It's great. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about you. Okay. So let's go back even before you did all of that. What was your aha moment in life when you knew that broadcasting or getting into the field was the place you wanted to be?
Well, growing up in Los Angeles, the number 2 market, I always watched the news. We always had Walter Cronkite on, but we watched the ABC News for local.
Okay.
And I used to love Jerry Dunphy. I mean, Dr. George Fishbeck, who wore the tie, kind of like Nate Tannenbaum.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always watched local broadcasting. I remember Tawny Little, who's a former Miss America, was a reporter. I knew early on, like probably 6 or 7, that was what I wanted to do. And as I got older, I actually thought, well, maybe I'll major in psychology and I could be like a Dr. Laura or one of these, radio broadcasters, because I loved radio as well.
Right.
And so by the time I got into Arizona State and I got into editing and I got into photography and all the other things that you have to do to get your degree, I knew for sure it was news that I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And so, because I wavered back and forth. When I was young, I knew for sure it was going to be anchor reporter. Then I thought, well, my mom used to always listen to Dr. Tony Grant. I mean, all talk radio.
Sure.
So when we were in carpool, I was always listening to talk radio. And I thought, maybe I wanted to do that. But then I ended up, So
when you were young, you said 6, 7, that age,
I knew.
whatever. Did you go around talking to your friends in a form of like a TV interviewer? So
No.
Mary, tell me what it's like to go down the slide today.
No, actually, you know what? I was really shy.
Okay.
I was shy. And so the thought of doing that, but I grew up like our family where we were always going to musicals and a lot of Broadway. And I mean, that was like
you were around.
I was around a lot of that. And my
Right.
uncle was in music at USC. And so they were always exposing me to theater and stage and television. I had an interest. I remember my dad said I used to ask him to be in shows, because I went to high school and junior high school with like Lisa Bonet.
Oh,
I mean, that was the industry there in Los Angeles,
Sure.
where I grew up. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley and Encino, and a lot of the parents of my friends were in the movie industry.
Gotcha.
So I grew up around that,
It was second nature for you.
Yeah. And then my high school boyfriend, actually, his mother was president of the school board. So she had a local television show.
Gotcha.
So she would bring me in the studio. So I was around
And
the
behind
industry.
the scenes,
Right.
all that. So, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Instead of me, I just had to make it. Now, this is the part of the show where I begin throwing screwball questions out at you, but nothing to get nervous about. They're like,
No.
what's your favorite this? What's your
Okay,
favorite that
yeah.
kind of stuff? So, who's your favorite actor of all time?
You know what? When you say actor, immediately
Male
I
side.
thought,
Male side.
oh, the male side, because
Correct.
I went to female.
I'll ask that one next.
Male actor. I like Dustin Hoffman. I always
Okay.
liked him.
278 jelly beans. Yeah.
Yeah.
278 jelly beans. Who's your favorite actress?
You know what? I don't know why she came to mind. It's Meryl Streep. I know
Okay.
why she came to mind, but I also thought Cher. I love Cher growing
Okay.
up, and I've loved her as an actress.
Okay. Her best movie, well, there were 2, right? She was in Steel Magnolias.
Right,
if there-
and Moonstruck.
Moonstruck, but then was that the one with the young boy that had the elephantitis disease? What was that
Yes.
one?
that's Moonstruck.
Was that Moonstruck?
Yeah.
No,
No, I
Wait,
didn't
what
think
was
so.
that one?
The Mask.
The
The
Mask. That's right.
I was going to say the mask.
No,
but I was thinking of
Moonstruck.
Jim
Yeah.
Carrey. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking of. To me, that I thought was a great movie. So, speaking of movies, what is your favorite all-time favorite movie? So that when it comes on, whether it's TV, your streaming service, whatever it is, you grab your favorite adult beverage, you grab your favorite snack, your husband, family, whatever it is, you turn your cell phone off. You don't want to be bothered while this movie is on. What movie is that for you?
It's always on. Coming to America. It's
yeah.
whenever it's on, I'm like, I have to watch this movie.
That is so true.
That is such that I think of like Devil Wears Prada and
Okay.
Sweet Home Alabama. Those are
Okay.
some of the ones like when because they come on
Well,
a
Devil
lot.
Wears Prada goes back to Meryl Streep. Right?
Yeah,
She
I
was in
love
that
her.
one, right?
That is one of my favorite movies.
What did you think of the remake of Coming to America? Or
I
I mean,
didn't- I
not the
didn't-
remake, but number 2, I guess.
You know what? I
Part two.
don't think I ever saw number 2.
Okay.
I just saw the first one.
Well, you need to see the second.
Yeah, I
It wasn't
never saw-
bad actually.
I love all the characters that Eddie Murphy did.
Oh, he's
He's
terrific.
terrific.
Absolutely.
That was just the
It's
best.
so funny to say about Coming to America because between that one and Shawshank Redemption,
Yeah.
those 2 shows are on like every
all
other day.
all the time.
And I turn to my wife and I say, "Look, there's a show we haven't seen in about 3 hours."
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
all right, that's a good one. I like Coming to America. That's one we usually don't hear.
I love that one.
What's your favorite music genre?
Oh gosh, I love the 80s.
Okay.
I love the 80s music. I mean, when I think back of, those were my formative years. So, I mean, I was going to
I'm
marry
right there with you.
I was going to marry George Michael. So, until he came out. So, that was my era.
Okay.
I love the 80s and I
Okay.
think that it represents such a fun time in
Yeah.
life. My dad always says, I think I love the 80s because that's when you girls were growing up and all your friends were over and the music was on.
Yeah.
And I remember the beginning of MTV.
Oh,
In fact, I have
You mean when they actually had videos?
yeah, I remember when it started.
Music.
My girlfriend from junior high school, Adee Perry, she called me not. She lives in Los Angeles, but she comes to Las Vegas a lot. Will see me on the news, and she called me and she's like, "Do you remember that I watched the launch of MTV at your house?"
Do you remember the song that they played?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Wait, the radio
Video
we
killed the radio
star. It
That's
took a minute.
correct.
Yes.
That's good. That was a song that they played
Yeah.
to launch it. And we all used to, I mean, I love the 80s music too. I taught my kids when they were young, I wanted them to appreciate all music.
Right.
So I used to tell people, I taught them music from A to Z, ABBA to ZZ Top.
Right.
Whatever music you like, but you're going to learn this kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
I grew up on big band. Sunday mornings, my dad, we would tune into WNEW AM back in New York. Sunday mornings, Jonathan Schwartz was the DJ, and it was all big band.
Oh, I love
Frank
that.
Sinatra to Benny Goodman, all of those guys. So I knew big band too.
That's nice.
So my dad taught me that, and then with my girls growing up, who are now 30, and thank God they still like that music. I taught them, you're going to like all this music. I'm not going to not show it to you.
Do your kids still live here?
Oh no, one lives in Norfolk. One actually is an audio engineer on Broadway. So she lives up
Nice.
in northern Jersey right
Uh-huh.
now, taking the mass transit in. So yeah, she's on Chicago, Book of Mormon, and Phantom right now.
Very
She's
nice.
a sub. She
Yeah.
goes around. And my other daughter works for Old Dominion University. She's in the business department, helping transfer students get acclimated with their courses. and
Nice.
stuff.
So they've done well.
They've done very well. Yes, very proud of them. Matter of fact, we're going out Wednesday to visit them. They turned 30 over back in August.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little delayed celebration, but we're going to all be back.
He's
next
an
week.
August baby too.
August what?
28th.
28th? My girls are the 10th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have frats. They're
Yeah.
fraternal twins.
Yeah.
All right. So we got you. So here's the last one before we go to break. So speaking of music, picture this. You're at a red light right now. Your favorite all-time song comes on. Your windows are rolled up. People are looking. Oh, look, that's Tricia Kean next to me. I'm trying to get your attention. You're ignoring them because you're bebopping to your favorite song, not caring what you're looking like to anybody else while you're singing this song. That song is what?
Tiny Dancer.
You're ready, Elton John.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's
Well,
a good one.
Blasting. I love that song.
Good.
Oh, my glass.
Go ahead, bring it on. You got it. She'll sing us into break.
I do sing. I do
Do you-
sing.
you do sing?
No, well, I'd love to sing. And my husband always used to say to me,
He left as soon as we started talking about
Yeah.
singing. I don't know.
no, I actually like to sing.
Okay.
But I was never trained in
Gotcha.
singing, but I love to sing.
I sing. It's when the shower's up
Yeah.
high and nobody can hear me.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go to our last break of the show. You're watching Aaron's Hour with my very special guest, Tricia Kean, Channel 13 news anchor locally, but you'll see on some of the, we'll talk about what she's doing for Channel 13 and more crazy questions when we come back right after this.
How unique.
It's gorgeous.
You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery. I've got to have it.
So colorful.
I can't live without it. You'll find the art that speaks to your heart at Desert Valley Gallery.
Most business owners struggle with the following issue. How do I brand my business to get noticed? Double Eight Design Studio helps businesses by designing brands that boost confidence, look and feel timeless, stand out from the competition, and attract all the right clients. Whether you are in need of a new brand, upgraded design elements, or completely redesign your current brand, Double Eight Design Studio has fully customized packages for your business. Call Chelsea McKendrick at 702-525-3334 and visit www.double8designstudio.com. Let Double Eight Design Studio give you a brand new outlook for your business. Reporting somewhere. Hi there, welcome back. Once again, some of the best conversations go on when you guys ain't listening, but I always run it right to the very end. Tricia Kean is my special guest today. She is a news anchor over Channel 13, consumer report specialist and all that good stuff, but she's also a sports advocate and she's a Raiders fan, and my helmet hasn't scared her out of the studio yet. So I want to talk about the consumer side because I think it's a fun topic in a way. So here's where I'd like to go with these questions. What's been the craziest consumer report someone's asking?
Oh,
I know it's probably been a ton, but give me some of the crazy ones. Somebody says, I ordered from McDonald's and the burger was cold. What can we do? You know, I mean, it's got to be crazy stuff.
Do you remember when that woman found a finger in her chili?
Yes, at Wendy's. Yeah.
She was a local woman too.
Was she really?
Yeah. That was a long time ago. But we've had some crazy stories over the years. Just people, what surprises me most about the stories I've done over the years is how trusting people are with their money, and the hundreds of thousands of dollars I've seen people hand over with nothing in writing, and you're like, are you kidding me? You didn't get anything in exchange. And I mean, not to mention contractors' stories, but people, especially in the early days when I got here, I mean, when things were really rolling and people had money, people would come in and, well, I gave them $150,000 check. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. And I have this bogus piece of paper that says I got these shares or this or that. It's just so there. Sometimes you've seen things that are really crazy, but then you've seen other things that are really calculated and smart, and you could see where people fall victim.
Gotcha.
And so when I first started at Channel 13, we still have hotlines. We don't, since COVID, we don't have the volunteer staff anymore in the station.
Sure.
But in the heyday, I mean, we had two shifts of nothing but volunteers taking phone calls and solving your problems. Now it's pretty much me and my producer doing it. Right. And so we just had a lady on last week on Friday who, again, a story that we're talking about, a contractor, she gave $25,000 to $30,000 and it's all shoddy work. And they're not really legitimate contractors. Right. So always check a license through the contractor's board. But I have had some very interesting stories over the years, and most people have been wonderful. I've had a few situations where people are, a little concerning when you show up at their house.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, I may be wrong on this, so I may be confused because the talent locally, and I love Nate Tannenbaum. I work at Gilbert Elementary School where his son went to school back in the day, because they have a broadcasting program there. Right. And because of my background, I'm involved in helping them. They do daily newscasts live and all that. Anyway, talent seems to move around often, like they do in any industry.
Right. Station to station.
Right. That's what I mean. Right. Yeah. Station to station. Darcy Spears, was she at one point at 13?
She was at 3.
Oh, she's at 3. Okay.
She's at 13 now.
Right.
And she moved over to our station. I remember talking to my general manager about her. She's great. She's a great investigative reporter. She's from Southern California, like I am too originally, but Darcy's been in the market for a long time and she's been with us. I would say Darcy's probably been with us for 14 years now. I've been at the station 22 years, maybe even longer. She's been at the station, but she's with us.
I couldn't remember what channel where I used to see her basically do those investigative reports.
Right. And she was on 3. Now she's on 13 for many, many years.
I want to share with people that some of the interviews that you've done since you've been in town have just been with people like Miriam Adelson, Sheldon Adelson's wife at the Sands Corp. Of course, Steve and Elaine Wynn, who, of course, Elaine was very involved in city for a long time, right?
She's great. And education.
And education. Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta, the Station Casino family. I'm going to butcher his last name, Tom Breitling.
Tom Breitling. Okay. Yeah, he and Tim Poster, they used to own the Golden Nugget.
Okay.
Do you remember the show Casino on Fox?
Of course.
Both of them starred in that.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That was James. Was that the James? No, that was Las Vegas, but I remember Casino. I know what you're talking about.
The cousins of the Fertittas bought it.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
But Tom Breitling also, do you remember Travelscape? I was called. It was a travel
Vaguely.
website. Travel. Maybe it was. I can't remember which.
Not
one it was.
Travelocity.
It wasn't Travel. I think it was called Travelscape. They
Okay.
used to own. Anyway, he was roommates with Lorenzo Fertitta in college.
Really?
Sean Breitling. Yeah, but they were on that show, Casino.
Okay.
And years ago, I interviewed him. He's still in this community. Miriam Adelson, though, she is very interesting because she was an emergency room doctor
Okay.
in Haifa, I believe, where she's born and raised in Israel, and then was set up on a blind date with Sheldon Adelson.
Oh, wow.
And they went on their honeymoon in Italy, and that was the inspiration for the Venetian.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an interesting story. Now, is she still here in Vegas, or did she go back to Israel when she buried Sheldon?
Well, no, she
Because
is,
Sheldon went back, right?
Yeah,
They-
she still lives here, but she
Okay.
also has a home in Israel as
Gotcha.
well. I mean,
Gotcha.
she probably has homes around the world.
I was gonna
She's one
say.
of the richest women in the
Right,
world, right?
Right.
But their Adelson School is still here.
Yeah, that
and
I knew. No,
I know
Yeah.
they're involved. When
I was actually affiliated with that temple for a long time up that way, where
Really?
the school is
Yeah,
up
yeah.
in that area.
She, well, 2 months ago, I was in Israel, and her son had just bought the basketball team
Okay.
there in Jerusalem.
Okay.
And so, obviously, with the war, I don't
Sure.
know what's happening with
Sure.
everything. I think things are on a standstill. I'm sure.
Are
in
they
that
under a
country right now.
ceasefire? I know that word I saw pop up in the news a couple of days ago. I don't know if it's actually in place or not. but-
I don't think right now. I think that the U.S. is asking for that for
Gotcha.
humanitarian aid to get into
Gotcha.
Palestine. I don't know what the latest is today. I haven't seen the news today, but I do know yesterday Benjamin Netanyahu was saying no, that
Gotcha.
they don't want to give them any chance to
Move forward and all, to
with-
recover.
Yeah. Well,
Gotcha.
no, it specifically Hamas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so again, here's kind of a little loaded question. I'll ask the easier one first. Who's been the favorite interview you've done so far in your career, whether it's here or Montana, or wherever? What's been your like, man, this is like goosebump level interview, the best I've ever done that I've had an opportunity to meet?
Oprah.
Really?
Yeah.
You-
When she opened, so we used to air the Oprah Winfrey show on
Right.
Channel 13.
Right.
And she was our lead-in to the news at 5 o'clock. And she's somebody that I watched when I was in college. I watched the Oprah Winfrey show, and
Yep.
she is somebody that I always wanted to meet.
Right.
And so when Celine Dion opened her theater
Mhm.
at Caesars, Oprah was doing her show live here,
Okay.
and we were ABC. And this is very interesting. Christina Brown, who was one of our weekend anchors years ago, she left our station actually to do the early Today Show.
Okay.
Like at 4, they had a half-hour newscast
Oh,
before the
okay.
Today Show.
Right.
Anyway, Christina was our weekend anchor, and they had Oprah was coming here, and it was on a weekend, and so they were asking Christina to go interview her and then put together a piece for the news. Christina got really sick, and she
Oh.
called me, and she's like, "I can't do this interview with Oprah. Would you want to do it?" I'm like, say no other word. So I went over and did watched the whole show. They were taping for Celine Dion,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got to meet Oprah Winfrey. And what was great about Oprah Winfrey, I started crying when
I
I've
bet.
never cried, but like just to be in her presence
Sure.
and somebody that I had respected in
Sure.
broadcasting over the years, what she's done for women just in general.
Sure.
But so she had, I remember this, she had a personal photographer, and Gail King was there, who's her
Wow,
best friend.
Of course.
And
CBS
who was
News.
right, who was a local anchor, I believe, at the time in Hartford,
Okay.
Connecticut. So I was with my best friend Felicia, who's passed, who I met at Channel 13.
Okay.
She passed 3 years ago of breast cancer, but she
Mm.
looked like Natalie Cole.
Okay.
And I remember Gail saying, "Is that Natalie Cole?" I said, No. Is that, who are you with? That woman, she looks so much like her. I said, "No, that's my best friend Felicia." So she's like, "Bring her up on the stage." And that's my mom. They brought everybody up on the stage,
Wow.
but they took pictures, and I still have those in my closet frame, like on a wall where I have like all my favorite photographs. And Oprah wrote me a letter too.
Nice.
Yeah, because I told her a book that she had on her book club. It's called The Seat of the Soul,
Okay.
which was written by Dr. Gary Zukav. It was like an amazing book. And I told her it really changed my life and the way how I look at things.
Sure.
But so it was really amazing. And it was a moment to meet her.
Now I got to ask the flip side, and you can plead the fifth if you choose to. Who was an interview that you did that you walked out going, "Oh my God, I don't want to know," like someone you interviewed against your better judgment. I don't know. One of those interviews that you go into going so hyped, and then you do it and you go, "Man, that was crap."
Okay, so I have to preface this with saying the first time I interviewed her, it was great. And she's a
Okay.
broadcast legend.
Sure.
Barbara Walters.
Okay.
The second time I interviewed her, she had just written a book
Right.
about how she felt that she was at a place where she could retire.
Okay.
She came out, she was open about an affair that she had had,
I remember
a
that.
relationship that she had had with African-American
Right.
politician.
Right.
So she put all this in her book about her life.
Sure.
The question I asked her, which she did not, I was like, she's the queen of hard questions, right?
Of course. Yeah.
She would ask people,
Doesn't mean she likes answering them.
right. But I asked her a question that I did not think was a tough question. I
Right.
said, Barbara, what are your plans for retirement?
Whoa.
But because she just wrote in her book, she finally feels that she's at a place for retirement.
Gotcha.
And she looked at me and she said, did you ask the other women that? I said, no, because they didn't write a book about.
Right. They didn't put it in print.
They didn't put it in print that they are ready to retire.
Right.
So she was not very nice.
Wow.
So one of the meteorologists this was going back when we were owned by Journal.
Okay.
He brought a stack of books, and he was going to get her autographs, but he saw the interaction, and he said, you know what, I don't want to interview her, and I'm taking all these books back.
Wow.
Because she was not very nice to me.
Oh, jeez.
And actually, they called and apologized. ABC, like, we are so sorry. She's just having a day. But I look back on that, and I actually am a little more sensitive to her because
Okay.
I don't know if maybe it was leading up to something that she
Sure.
was going through,
Sure.
or she ended up having
You never know the backstory.
dementia. Yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
but and I don't know the
Sure.
backstory. I forgive her for that. But she was one that I really, because the first time I interviewed her, she was great.
Right.
I was stunned that she had that reaction to me.
Right.
But I came back. I said, well, these other women didn't just write this book.
Right.
In all fairness, I mean,
You
it's
put it in
you.
black and white. It wasn't-
right. But, and you're the queen of tough questions. You can't handle that question. So that kind of,
Kind of tweaked you a little
yeah.
bit.
But I always respected her. I mean, and she grew up here in Las
Right,
Vegas.
Right.
Part of her childhood.
Part of
was
her
here.
child. Yes. I saw recently on social media, you just recently received an award too. Why don't you
That's
talk
right.
about that?
That was last weekend, the Dream Awards.
Mhm.
That was amazing for media excellence. But what was amazing about that were some of the people who were there. Jane Kennedy,
Mm,
they
oh,
gave
wow.
her an award. Boy, she looks great.
I remember watching her on the NFL Today back in
That's
the day.
right. They went through
Wow.
her. I mean, she's in the Museum of Broadcast
Yeah.
History.
But she was also a beauty pageant winner at the prior to all
Beautiful.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she was there. A lot of local celebrities. Jackie Bascow got an award, the
know
local
Jackie.
talent agent. And a lot of entertainers
Okay.
from radio and just entertainers overall Darkus and a lot
Sure,
of different
sure.
entertainers who
Well, that's good.
got
Well,
awards. So
congratulations
thank
on
you.
that.
It
And
was-
it's one of a few awards I know you've received over the years.
Yeah, Emmys is really my thing.
That's the one.
what we
Of course,
yeah. But
of
no,
course.
just because
How many Emmys
television.
do you have? Have you
I have 6 total. Yeah.
Are they like
yeah.
displayed somewhere that you look at every day going, yeah, that's me?
They're on my mantle.
That's-
But you know what? And here's the thing about that is back in the day,
Right.
when the station paid, I would, because Emmys are expensive too.
To make.
Yeah. And
Right.
they're also expensive
Are
for
they
the
all
station.
gold?
They're beautiful. And
Right.
the Emmys that we get from Natus
Right.
are really, they're the real deal.
The creme de la
Yeah.
creme.
They're really, they're beautiful. They're
Not like the
heavy.
ones you get in a gift shop in LA, by the way.
No. But going back, what was I going to tell you?
No, we were talking about the Emmys.
Oh, the Emmys. And that's
You had them on display and all that stuff.
right. But it was funny because back in the day, now the stations will pay. They didn't always pay to
Right.
enter, but we are really active with Emmys now.
Well, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on all of that. I want to be Tricia when I grow up.
No, listen, I feel very, very fortunate because
Sure.
I've been at the station 22 years
Mhm.
and I just signed a new contract. I'll be
Good
there
for you.
another 3 years.
Congrats.
And thank you so much. And I feel
Since you didn't
really-
write a book yet, I won't ask about retirement. So don't
No,
worry.
no, no,
I-
no. I'm not planning on that. Listen, my son is just turned 14.
Oh,
We
no,
have
you got to
time.
keep working a few more
Yeah,
years.
yeah. You know how that goes.
I do.
You know how
Absolutely
that
do.
goes.
Couple of last quickie questions because believe it or not, we're almost out of time. I mean, you've been in the hot seat a while and you're doing very good here. All right, couple of quick crazy questions. What's your favorite bucket list vacation spot you want to go to
Oh, wow.
someday?
You know
Husband, are you listening to this
Where
question?
do we want to go, Rick? You know what? I haven't been. There are a lot of places in Europe I want to be.
Okay.
And I saw recently somebody showed me video of Italy.
Okay.
And it looks so beautiful. So I would like to see. I haven't seen Europe.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I've been to London,
Sure,
but not
the rest of it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd like to see Europe.
The guys from Desert Valley Gallery, they just spent 3 weeks away, 2.5 of it in Dublin, loved it, and
I'd
then they
like to
spent
go
5
there,
days
too.
in London. So,
I'd like to do that. You know, since I
Dublin, Rick, put that on your list.
There we
Rick.
go. Yeah.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah. So no, really, I've spent so much time since I've been 21 years in this career.
Sure.
And so I have traveled with my job.
With
I've been
business.
to Australia, I've been to New
Okay.
Zealand,
But
which
it's
was
different
amazing.
on business versus going.
Well, that was after I graduated college, and that was amazing.
Okay.
But that's a flight. The flight to Israel. I always wanted to go to Israel, and I'm glad I went.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you just recently went.
Yeah,
From what I saw.
2 months ago.
Right.
Jerusalem is really. Have you ever been?
No.
Tel Aviv.
My wife has, my dad has, my kids have. I'm just nervous about going to the Middle East.
Well, yes, and I understand that, and that's how I always was.
Right.
But I'm glad that I went when I
Sure.
went. When I tell you Jerusalem and that Wailing Wall, to see
Yeah.
people from all over the world there, it's just.
Did you see people putting notes in the wall too?
Oh yeah, it's amazing when you're up close on the wall and writing, and
Yeah.
it's just and all the different quarters. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Jerusalem is a beautiful city, and
Someday.
what struck me about Israel is how diverse Israel is,
Right.
and it's 22% Arab
Yes.
as well.
Someday I'll go back to what I like to call the home office, so
Yeah,
to speak.
yeah.
So, all right, couple more questions, then we really are out. Who's your favorite superhero, Batman or Superman? In case you need a hint in any question.
But you know what? I liked Wonder Woman.
Wasn't one of the choice. No.
Well, but if I have to
course.
choose
No,
between
of course.
Batman and Robin, it's Batman.
Good answer.
Yeah, I like Batman.
So what Wonder Woman? What was your connection? to
I loved Linda Carter
Right.
growing up, and she was a superhero. And
Right.
when I was growing up, that show was popular.
Sure.
And I remember she would twirl
With
around
the
and turn into
rope.
Wonder Woman.
Gal Gadot. Have you seen the movies?
I haven't seen her in that, and I like Gal Gadot.
She's
She does a great
wonderful.
job.
The original one, 1984. Again, that was more or less the sequel. Most sequels are not as good as the original, but she was very good. I thought she did it. I love
Yeah.
her.
I love Linda Carter. Have you seen her?
I have.
She's
I have.
aged incredibly well.
She's done very well. for herself.
Gorgeous.
Yes,
Yeah.
she certainly
She's
is.
gorgeous.
She's kept that Wonder Woman physique.
She sure has. She's beautiful.
All right, last question. When the day comes for many, 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 many years from now, that you're standing at the great doors of heaven, Mater D is standing there waiting for you to enter in, what is it that you'd like to hear them say to you upon entering into the pearly gates?
That you were a good person and you were nice to other people throughout. That's the most important thing. It's how you are towards and the earth and what you left behind in terms of good people that
Sure.
you left
Your legacy,
behind. Your
in a way.
legacy. Your legacy is really what you leave behind. And he's my legacy, right?
Absolutely.
So it's making sure that he's good and gives back to the world.
Right on. I couldn't have
That's
said
it.
anything better. Well said. All right. That's it for today's show. Again, thank you for coming
Thank
in. Listen,
you.
my honor to have you here, and thank you again for making time. Hopefully, as time goes, we'll be able to do this again periodically, just to have some
Absolutely.
fun
I'll come
conversation.
back.
Good. You heard that, right? So, John, you got
We
that?
have it on tape.
We have it on tape.
Now it's always at the same time. Now I know
Right.
how far it is.
That's right.
Well, last night on the MapQuest, it said 30 minutes or
Right.
36 minutes.
Ah.
And then today I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get,
Well, and a map always shows you this far away.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
Anyway, hey, listen, programming note, I will not be in studio next week as I will be back east. So make sure you tune in. I have George Midlow sitting in for me next week. I have no idea what he's going to do because he hasn't figured out what he's going to do next week. But make sure you tune in. I will be back in studio the week thereafter. So make sure you tune into Aaron's Hour. Again, I want to thank my sponsors, Double 8 Designs, and of course, Desert Valley Gallery. Get in there, $150 purchase minimum. Enter a drawing for 2 tickets to a cabaret show there in 2024. Is there a way that you sign off every night? Because it's been a while since I've caught you on a news anchor. Like when your news is done.
Jimmy Kimmel is coming up.
All
next.
right, well, there you go. You ain't
Make
get.
that happen.
I was going to say, you ain't Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy
coming-
Kimmel Live coming
There-
up next. See you
There
back
you
here
go.
tomorrow.
I can't say
You don't
that.
watch the 11.
No, I'm usually asleep
Yeah,
by 9.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, with that, be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. See you next time right here on Aaron's Hour. Thank everybody for watching.